All right, welcome back. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night. This comes from CBS Sports talking about some of the quarterbacks who posted the most wins to start a career. You can see Lamar Jackson, whose future is in doubt right now. So are guys like Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot to get into, which we will in future shows. But right now we're talking about the Penguins. And we begin with our number one Cochrane Go One Better call of the night. It's Dave in the north side. We got a lot of people want to talk about the Penguins, Andrew, as you might imagine. Dave, go ahead.
Okay,
Hi,
I'm
Dave.
on. I'm talking about the Penguins tonight. They got too many guys being 35 years old. They got 5 guys being 35 years old. That's too old to have that many guys being that old in hockey.
Well, I think specifically, Ron Hextall made a mistake with re-signing Jeff Carter. To me, you just can't do that, especially the way he did it for this year and next year as well. So he's still on the books, Andrew. You have so much money left after you sign your top 3 guys and you bring them back on 4- and 5-year deals, whatever they were. And Kasperi Kapanen was a mistake, too. They brought these guys back, and they could have used money in other directions, I thought.
The Kapanen deal is, to me, the biggest puzzler. I don't get it. If you had polled Penguins fans and said, would you make this move, I think 99.9% would have said no. In this case, the fans knew more than the team. I don't know what they saw in him, this obsession with Kapanen, maybe his speed, but he doesn't use it. He doesn't finish. I'm not really sure what he's good at. He's not a guy that creates. He's not a guy that gives you an edge in terms of the physicality or in his defensive zone as a guy that you like who shuts down other forwards. He's just there. And to give him the money that they did, a multi-year deal, was just a big-time blunder by the Penguins, and one of the many that they're paying for right now, Bob.
No question about it. And Jeff Petrie, he's making $6.5 million or whatever he is. That's a lot of money for him. He hasn't been all that good. Ruda's been hurt most of the year. These are things that are going to come back to haunt them.
The guys they got rid of have played well. Matheson's played great for Montreal.
So is Evan Rodriguez. Remember, they got rid of him. They didn't want him around. They could have chosen him over Kapanen, and now he's on the top line in Colorado. We have Dave Wilson has a tweet for us, Andrew. He says, most embarrassing display by a Penguin front office in some time. The problem is the high-profile guys. It's not them. It's the bottom 6 backup goaltender this team folds too easily to root for. Although I will say this, that's the most I've seen them respond to, something that happened behind the net. I mean, they all got involved. Malkin was involved. I thought he actually he got away with 3 punches that they didn't really do much with. But at least they responded. That's more than they've pretty much done all season long.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Will and McKees Rocks. Will, go ahead.
Hey, Will.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
We're good. Thanks.
Good.
Good. Listen, I just have a quick question about the Penguins. Do you think with the downward spiral that the Penguins have been going through, do you think that Mike Sullivan's losing the team's confidence?
No. I think Mike Sullivan may be losing the GM's confidence, or the people in charge here, Andrew. They made a commitment. Okay, fine, but you also have to supplement what you have. And they made choices that we described, I don't know, that are in the best interest of the team, and now they're stuck. So now what do they do?
Wait a minute. When you say that, you mean the front office is losing confidence in him, or he's losing confidence in the people?
Confidence in them. They haven't made a move. Normally at this time of the year, I don't care where you are, you figure out a way to make a move. Jim Rutherford, for better or worse, would have had 3 done by now, just because he wouldn't have liked the way things are going. That's not necessarily a good thing at times, but my point is he would have shaken things up. You got to do something at some point. They're now out of the playoff picture as they've been overtaken, and I'm telling you, watch out for Buffalo and Detroit. Those teams are younger, playing better, and they're going to, who knows, they could end up as the 2 wildcard teams from another division.
I know. I just think that they went with the antithesis of Rutherford. Hextall is so conservative in terms of how he does things. He's the exact opposite of Rutherford. I think that was by design by the old ownership regime, and this one decided to keep him around. He got a deal for Raquel that he really liked, where he didn't have to give up much to get him. And even though that didn't pay dividends last year because of his injury in the playoffs, he's been tremendous. So in that way, I bet he feels like he made a great trade last year. But you're right. I mean, what are we doing? If you're going to bring back a core of players that is the oldest in the NHL, how do you just punt on the season right now? Mm-hmm. I think you've got to do things, Now, they're kind of boxed in. There aren't like obvious moves to be made. There isn't a trade where you snap your fingers and it's an easy deal. This is where a great general manager or even a good general manager shows his worth. So that's what's on the line for Ron Hextall over these next few days. And if his answer is just ride it out and hope for better results, Bob, I'm not going to be a big fan of that. I expect more out of a general manager. You're right. He has to do something for this team, and if he doesn't, then I think he isn't fulfilling his obligation or responsibility to the team as their GM.
Right. He made the choice, or they made the choice. Whoever made the choice, we're going to bring back these guys. Okay, that's your choice. That means if you're in this situation, you can't just say, oh, well, we did what we had to do. That's not
better
working
luck
out.
next year.
Find something else because it won't get any better next year. It'll be a year older. Let's go out to Todd and Shaler joins us right now on the Borders and Borders hotline. Hey, Todd.
Hey, good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Hey, Todd.
Good. Hey, everybody keeps talking about these old people, and you guys just made the comment about the GM versus Sullivan. I think Sullivan's a great coach. I don't think he has to go. But is there anybody in the minors that's worth tapping into, at least give a try at this point, where you bring up 2 or 3 guys and you consistently play them and bench Carter and some of these other guys that are struggling, like Kapanen and et cetera?
I wish there was an easy answer for that, Todd. Quite frankly, that's been a problem. They haven't developed enough guys. They had guys who were thought of, Andrew, as being guys who would eventually be here sooner rather than later, and they haven't worked out. And specifically talking about Sam Poulin.
Yep. His name popped into my head, Bob, as soon as I heard the call. You know, they found guys like Brian Rust and Jake Gensel in the middle rounds of drafts. Right. You know, that's a credit to previous regimes to be able to unfurl those guys without having a premium pick, and that well is run dry. You know, one of the reasons why they won back-to-back cups is because they had an influx of young players who weren't necessarily top picks who helped produce and contribute to championship teams on all 4 lines, up and down their lineup, on defense too. And we're just not seeing that anymore, which, you know, that would really perturb me. If I were the Fenway Sports Group, you know, where are the results here the last couple of years in their drafts? Why? Okay, so we've traded some picks, but you're telling me we haven't found anyone who can produce at the NHL level? Right. We got to bring Josh Archibald back because we can't find productive young players in our organization. It's just, that's a big letdown, Bob, that they have failed in terms of some of the young guys that they tried to bring along here in the last few years.
Right. I mean, you hit on it with third-round pick. You know, Rust Gensel was a third-round pick. There are guys out there, but you have to get them once in a while, too. You can't just say, oh, we don't have a first-round pick, so therefore we don't have anything. No, you got to find them someplace. There are guys out there. Let's go to Danny in Green Tree. Hey, Danny.
How you doing, Bob? I'm calling because I'm really looking at the games because I've been a fan for many years, and they come out really good and really hungry, like they want to win, and they deflate towards the end of the second period and the third period every game. They got to get some more grit and get rid of some of these older guys on the team to just do something better.
Easier said than done at this point. I don't know what you can get, what you can trade, Andrew. Who on this team is attractive to anyone at this point, unless you get somebody like a Gensel who's willing to do away with his partial no trade clause? I don't see that happening. Do you?
I don't, but you got to do bold things sometimes. I mean, you think it was easy, you know, after winning a Stanley Cup, you know, guys like Paul Coffey, Mark Recchi, those guys were jettisoned, Bob.
Yes.
I mean, great players, the Rick Tocchet trade. So, you know, I don't know. I don't think Hextall has the guts to make a blockbuster deal like that, but, you know, it might be a situation where you give up the best player in the trade to help your lineup in different ways, like the James Neal trade was one of those deals, Bob, when they brought Patrick Hornquist and Spalding in.
And the problem is, as we go to break here, Andrew, is they should have made trades 3 years ago for some of these guys. That's when you needed to do it. I know it would be looked at as unpopular, but at some point you have to do it. Or last year when their contracts were up, you know, just move away, save the money and spend it out, do something. But and I say that knowing that the top 3 guys really haven't been their problem. We got to take a break here. We'll come back with more. It's 412-575-2600. Join us on the Sports Call.